Hello everyone, welcome to a different angle of my room and a different angle of my bookshelf. It's still there, don't freak out. I just wanted to be a little comfier, a little cozier in today's video, because I am in the process of writing the fourth book of my series, as you know. I'm in the process of ending it, I'm in the process of finishing it, on and on and on. I just realized the other day while I was looking at my wall, let me see, that wall? Yeah, see all those note cards? You watched me put them up there at one point. Those are for book 3. I haven't created or updated my note cards for this book, which is fine, don't get me wrong. Every book that I write, I feel like has different aspects of the writing process. Some of them I need those note cards, others of them I don't as much. I think, though, in order to make sure that I finish this book strongly, creating the note cards is going to be a helpful thing. So I have my handy-dandy, trusty little writing notebook. This came from a friend. She painstakingly made me the Ninth Doctor in notebook. And there's quotes from Doctor Who on the back, and in the front there's the first and last quotes from the Ninth Doctor. As you can see, I have all sorts of loose papers just chilling in my writing notebook. All sorts of just various ideas or brainstorming concepts that I've had. I also have entire sections of paper just stapled into it when I needed to expand. Different maps that I've drawn, so on and so forth. You ever have a moment when you are flipping through something and you realize that you completely forgot that you already made an outline for this? Yeah, back when I was planning out this series, I planned out all 4 books, so here's book 4. I know for a fact that I've already moved away from this outline. That was inevitable. It's just what happens when I start writing. But I have all sorts of notes in here, which is helpful. I should look at this notebook a lot more often than I do. Anyway, the goal for this video is to make the note cards so that I can have them, so that I can reference them, so I can put them up on my wall. So that I can sit here on my bed and stare at them while I write. And it's going well. As of right now, I am at the midpoint, which is good. I'm at about 25,000 words. I just checked. I've also been, okay, I'm a notorious binge writer, in that if I don't just force my way through something half the time, it doesn't ever actually finish. But for this book, for some reason, binge writing just has not been working, and it hasn't been an option. So, I'm going back to one of the other ways that I've written books in the past, which is slow, steady, one chapter at a time. Because at the very least, then I still have I'm being productive, I'm writing something, I'm doing something, I'm adding to it, I'm getting closer to the end. And I think part of the reason it's so hard for me to write this particular book is because it is the end. There'll be more on that later. But in much the same way that I don't ever want to speed through the end of a book that I'm reading, I'm suddenly realizing that I'm approaching the end of a book that I'm writing. And I don't like that. So I'm working on it. And slowly but surely continuing my way toward that end. Toward the end. And now I just want to make sure that I have a good plan in place in order to do that. So, before I continue, I just wanted to make sure that I had a plan in place. So essentially what I can look at from my my various lists of my 12 beats. I'm sure I've talked about this before. I'll put a video somewhere up there where you can learn more about the 12 beats and how I outline in my note card method and all that jazz, and how when I create outlines, what I do. But I go through the 12 beats of screenwriting from Save the Cat, and I then pick out the different things. I have to redo it again because I've changed things in the book, and it doesn't make as much sense for me to try to change the book back to fit the outline as it would to then change the outline so that it still fits with the book. So I need to redo the book outline. It does not seem like my brain is in exactly the right frame of mind to be talking to you while I do this, but we're going to try it anyway, because if nothing else, it's just authentic me. So, I'm sorry for the number of times that I've already tripped up on my words, and it's going to keep happening. Anyway, so I need to figure out the opening, well, I have the opening image. I have the setup, I have the catalyst, I have the debate, break into Act 2, we got that. Right, okay, I'm still tracking here. B story is when things kind of went off track. Yeah, the B story is when everything just all flew away. So, we're going to start with the B story. Medusa, try whatever this is. Story. And yes, I do outline with pen and paper. I've tried doing it various different ways. I have successfully done it on like an Excel sheet before. That sometimes works. But for the purposes of tracking everything for myself, so I can see how many tries I had to go through, so that when I do finish, I can go back and look at all of the different attempts. It's snowing and it's so pretty. Wow. I can go back and look at all of the different attempts and figure out, like, okay, it's okay if it takes me 18 different tries. It'll be okay. I'm still gonna finish it, so on and so forth. Hold on. I need to show you the snow because it's gorgeous. So pretty. Okay, I'm back. Back trying to focus. This is why I cannot have my desk near a window anymore. For a while I used to do that, and then I would get so distracted by what was outside that I legitimately could not. I never got anything done. And that's when I just started going and working on the couch instead. It's so pretty though. Wow. I must have like an updraft of wind coming because some snow further out is falling, but then closer to the house it's kind of floating back up. I promise I'm going to try to focus here soon. This is welcome to my creative process. Also, it's only a matter of time before my hair goes completely away from my face, so I may as well do that now. I'm one of those people who, when I had bangs cut, and I used to play piano, and whenever I couldn't read the notes well enough, I would push my bangs up out of my face. They weren't in my face. They weren't impacting my ability to see. I just couldn't focus with them against my forehead. And then every day, I would try to go to school with my hair down, and I would fail because by the time that lunch happened, if I hadn't already, my hair would be up in some sort of ponytail or bun, and then if I managed to get through lunch without that, and then I turned or took it back down after lunch, I would put it back up for math class. So here we are. Yeah, back to the bee story. Okay, this part is all going to be sped forward because spoilers. What's next? After the B story, we have the promise of the premise. That's going to be really hard for this book. If you know anything about screenwriting, you already know that the promise of the premise is supposed to be the hint of what is to come. It is the things will be okay, things will be better. We don't have to worry about these characters because this is what we're promising in the end. Yeah, I kind of screwed that one up already. This book, that's promise of the premise is... I'm sorry in advance. Okay, I apologize in advance to my critique groups so often because of the emotional pain I'm going to put them through. The fact that they still read anything I send them is kind of ridiculous. So I'm sorry in advance, and I still hope that you do indeed, in fact, at some point read my books. Well, I don't know exactly what it'll be, but I have now created some options for myself that I can use for the promise of the premise when I get there. So at least there's that. I can just kind of pick and choose, and hopefully whatever I do choose will still feed into the next step in the outline. The next step is the midpoint. The midpoint is when everything is supposed to fall apart. So, it's either the best that it's ever been or the worst that it's ever been, and it's like it's an extreme, essentially. Cool. That's good. That's good. All right. Next step, the next phase, I guess you could say, is the bad guys close in. So for that one, we will have So All is Lost, followed quickly by Dark Night of the Soul. All is Lost is when everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and everything feels like it's time to give up. Like, you're not going to win, the villains are winning, so on and so forth. And then Dark Night of the Soul is that internal processing of, shoot, I've already lost. Am I going to keep fighting? Obviously, the expectation is that yes, the answer is yes, they are going to keep fighting. But we'll go from there. Yeah. So first, all is lost. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. Okay. It's always interesting to me how my plots change over time. Like, I had a plan for this book back when I made these first outlines. I didn't happen to write the date down, did I? No, I didn't. But it must have been like August 2019 or something like that, because did I write the date here? Yeah, it had to have been August of 2019. Because that's when I started planning out character arcs and stuff for this entire series. And then I wrote down the entire outline. And since then, it's been a year that I've been working on this series, from book 1 all the way through now book 4. Crazy. That's crazy. How has a year already gone by? Anyway, But it is interesting to me. This story is not what I thought it was going to be, and maybe someday I'll tell you where I thought the story was going when I wrote the outline, and then obviously at that point you'll have been able to read where it actually ended up going, and then you'll get to see how it progressed, what changed, what stayed the same, how things fell into different places, so on and so forth. I think that would be really cool. I hope someday that gets to happen. Yeah, because I would love to share all of this with you the way that I already have somewhat, just, without the fear of spoilers. Okay, All is Lost. Dark Night of the Soul is next. Well, that's interesting. That'll be really interesting. Huh, cool. Sorry, this whole video is like a massive tease. Sorry about that. All right, next up we have break into Act 3. Okay. Which is essentially when everything, for Act 3 starts, when everything begins. So we'll have, at this point, all of it's directly following the Dark Night of the Soul. So essentially what's about to happen is that everybody they have a refreshed call to arms, more or less, and they all have the strength in their convictions to actually accomplish what they set out to do at the very beginning of the book. It might not look the way that they thought it would, but that's still the goal. So, break into 3. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. I hope that this works out the way that I think it will. There's no guarantee, but I hope it will. Next. Next is the finale. That can be pretty much exactly the same as how I originally planned it. Interesting. Okay. And then finally, and this is my own little addition to the 12 beats, because I know personally that I'm really bad at resolution. So the last final stage of all of this, especially in the end of a series, is the resolution. Which I think can be exactly the same as what I had it before. Yeah. Yep. All right, so that's that. Now it's just time to transfer these to the note cards and then put them up on my wall. But I'm feeling so much better about this. Yeah, I think this is going to work. And I think that'll be good. I should never be trusted with pens because I will fling them. You've already seen me throw or drop this pen 3 times in this video. Anyway, okay, that's it for this video. I was going to make the note cards, but I essentially just did. I just have to, go through the process of actually transferring them to the note cards and putting them, as I already said. So, if you've enjoyed this one, go check out the rest of my writing journey videos. Hopefully they can help you learn how I write, and maybe that can help you figure out how you write, as I try different things, as I do different things, as I do the things that I know work for me. Maybe those things will also work for you. Okay, until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.